Hello everybody, and welcome back to Up North Aquatics, and thank you for stopping by. Today I'm going to start filming the first fish room update video, and I'm down here doing some water changes right now, so I figured I'd bring you along with for the ride. So I'll show you what I do and how I do it, and yeah, let's get started. Might as well start off by showing you the tools we're going to use. First would be my siphon, and it has an on and off switch. This is ran straight to my storm drain. I'm fortunate enough to be in the basement on a concrete floor with a storm drain, so I could put the water right down the drain and out. This is a custom-made L-shaped net, and I will show you what I use that for in a moment and explain. But it has turned out to be pretty important. And this is my water line in, and it is only cold water. So I only ever do like 20% or less water changes, and I am kind of on a schedule now, and that's the result of testing for obviously nitrate levels and following along to make sure that my nitrates stay at a healthy level around 20 parts per million or less, so that I can do 20% or less water changes, some tanks every week, some tanks every other, depending on how much I feed, and without shocking the fish, because this water comes in at like 40 degrees. The tanks are at like anywhere between 70 and 80, depending on what they are. And I found that, you know, the fish can handle that little bit of a temperature swing when you mix those two waters at about 20% or so. It does not tank the water temperature enough to really harm them. I've been doing it this way for a long time with no issues. So this water change is just a garden hose hooked up to the outdoor spigot. Well, there's an indoor cold line in the style of like an outdoor spigot, ran across the basement through my like thermal curtain here. And sorry about that, everybody. We had a unexpected visitor in the form of a toddler wearing shoes and absolutely nothing else. But anyway, so this attachment is something I kind of just made up on my own at the hardware store. Made of two 90-degree elbows and one two-way, like, I forget if it's called like a splitter or whatever it is, but having the two valves on there, it just helps kind of control the flow of the water coming in so you don't mess up the substrate or anything. Really comes in handy. And then of course the most important thing is our water treatment. I used to use Prime, but it's safe for me now that I change so much water so often. It's just kind of like the powdered version. You can use a lot less of it and you get a lot more for your money. So this is the way I go now, but it's literally Prime, like Seachem Prime, but like in a dry powdered form, and it's a lot less, goes a lot longer, I guess, when it comes to how much water volume you can treat. So this is what I use, but really any sort of dechlorinator that's going to get rid of chlorine and chloramine is going to do just fine for you. So I'll show you how we get started with our water changes here. So the first thing I always do is determine which tanks I am changing, and I go around and I pull all the lids off so that I can kind of work my way down the line of tanks. And it'll make sense once I start doing this. But the next thing I'll do is I'll just come to the first tank and start my siphon. And I don't know how this is going to work with one hand, but essentially I dip it under the water, pull it out, and once the water starts draining, dip it back under the water again so that no air gets in that siphon, and then flip it over, keeping it submerged the whole time. So I'm going to get that started and I'll chime back in. All right, so once the siphon is started, I'll gravel vac if I need to gravel vac. And then when I'm done gravel vacuuming, this is where this net comes in. I just take it, and again, one-handedly here, which might not work out too well. I take it and I scoop it over the end of the siphon. Uh-oh. Come on now. Okay, I'm gonna have to put the camera down. I'll put it over the end of the siphon, and then I will chime back in so you can see what it looks like. All right, there it is. I let the rest of the tank drain with it just like that. The reason being, I have had fish swim up that thing and get stuck. I actually kind of like ruined the wen on a red cap aranda that way, so now I'm pretty paranoid about it. But then I could kind of walk away from it and check on it every little bit to kind of monitor the water level. And I just kind of like roughly estimate what, 15-20% is just by how tall the tank is. You can get a pretty good feel for it, especially after you do it, you know, every week for years. And that's how I do it. If you wanted to do it in 5-gallon buckets to measure it out one time and then mark that water level on the tank, that'd be one way to know for sure. But I just kind of eyeball it. And so I'll check back in when this one is done siphoning out and show you how I move on to the next tank. All right, so now that a good chunk is drained out of this tank, what I do now, I take this flow control, I shut it off, and that'll keep the siphon going. In the hose anyway, it's gonna all come out of there, this piece here. Take it to the next tank, which I'm gonna skip the quarantine tank and do with a different siphon because you don't wanna cross-contaminate. Take it to the next healthy tank, put this under the water, fill it up with water so I don't get air in my siphon, and turn the valve on and let this one start draining. The next one, and while this one's draining, I take my water supply again, bring it over to the partially empty tank, hook it on, turn it on. There's always a little bit of pressure built up. And then as I'm watching this one drain, I watch this one fill, and as this one's filling, I add my Seachem Safe, and I will recommend, I'm not going to give you any specific measurements because use the amount that's recommended on the bottle you have of whatever product you have. So I'm going to read the directions, measure it out, add it to the water while it's filling, and again, keep an eye on this tank and this tank because I can't take too much from that tank and I can't put too much in this one or else we're gonna have quite a mess on our hands in this tank, and I'm gonna have to replace this water with too much cold water and could cause some sort of stress and disease. So I'm gonna keep doing that all the way around the fish room here, and I'll check back in when it's all done. We'll do a quick update on how everybody's doing, and yeah, that'll be it. All right guys, I got the last tank filling here, so I figured while that fills up, let's go around the room and do a quick update on everything. Nothing's changed in the pond. Everybody's doing well. It's getting warmer out. The big pond outside will be thawed out for the koi to go into. Might put that big Sarassa Comet in there too. Again, the Shabunkins will have another year, and then they'll go in there as well. And then it'll be left with just the fancy tail goldfish, and I can start building up my collection of those a little more. I do have the cinder blocks and the wood all in to build the 4 10-gallon rack that's going right here above the pond that we're gonna do all planted. Dirted substrate with a sand cap. See what we can do. So that'll be fun. That'll be in a future video. Again, here's the green terror with the silver dollar and the Bashir that's always hiding. I did release I do have the green terror species only video. By the time this one's out, that one will be out if you want to know all about him. Here's my 2 tubs of the grow outs. Hold on, let me turn this light off, see if that helps. Nope, not at all. Ah, there they are. The 24 karat golden white clouds that are growing out for possibly some summer tubbing. No losses there. They are still kind of in quarantine. No losses there. Everybody's doing great. Tiger barb's good as always. Still looking for another Pictus cat, or potentially 2, 3 more even. To kind of have a shoal in here, then when they get bigger, we'll put them in a bigger tank and maybe get even more. That'll be fun. But yeah, these guys are all doing alive and well, super healthy, super fun, super active, always hungry. Here's finally a good chance to see that blue mystery snail now that he's coming out of his shell and moving around. There's one. Hello, there's the other. Yeah, these guys are awesome. Try to breed them. This is where our white Betta ended up, and here's our purple Betta, both males in the green water that you can hardly see. He's coming to the front because he thinks he's getting fed. So I might get a little peek at him. The other green water tank, we do have some shrimp action. If I can get him, that is a buried up female swimming off into the back there. So we will have some shrimplets soon. There's like 3 pregnant female guppies that I've been able to see in here, so that's really exciting. So more updates to come on that. I'll probably do a video just on this tank and on the breeding of the guppies, snails, and ghost shrimp. Oh, sorry, in the near future. So look out for that too, because this tank is super fun. Frogs doing fine. Probably just ready to eat. Everybody thinks they're getting fed. I just turned the lights on for a little bit this morning to do some water changes, and now everybody thinks it's time to feed, but the lights will be going back off until they come on their automatic cycle this afternoon. Electric blue Acara hanging out, getting bigger. I might order 2 more of these guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and maybe we'll see if we can't breed them, because I got it just to have one like showstopper fish, but I love them so much, and how personable he is, that I'm like, I think I'm gonna change my mind. I think I'm gonna get some more and try to breed them. I'm constantly keep an eye on that tank that's filling up. Jack Dempsey, quick peek before he goes to hide. He is starting to show more and more of the Jack Dempsey color, which is cool, and I have been feeding him a lot of like bloodworms and stuff like that, so trying to get a little more size and color on him. Huge water changes, or 20% water changes, but every week instead of every other, because I'm feeding every day instead of every other. And as always, testing the water, making sure that that is working. But there is some floating plants in here that kind of, they're growing really well, so it's showing me that they are taking some waste out of the water. And before we continue, well, maybe I can do it one-handed. I'm just gonna come over here and shut this water off, because this water line is right about where I like to keep it. There. Cool. Now I don't have to worry about wearing a bunch of water as it overflows over the top of the tank all over me. So yeah, definitely more updates on this tank and more fish to come. It's kind of boring. It's just a grow out for the electric blue Acara and the Jack Dempsey, but they are putting on size super quick, and we are trying to take good care of them to help them do so. But I really am leaning more towards these electric blue Acaras now and getting more of them. As he spits out a mouthful of sand, that looks good on the camera, hey buddy. But yeah, I mean, man, I love that fish. A fish that I never had any interest in until I kind of owned one, and now it's like, man, I got to get a group of these. So stay tuned for that. I can make that happen sooner than later. Down here, just our tetras and rainbow shark, our larger tetras and rasboras and rainbow shark that can handle it. There he is. I think it's so awesome that his territory is that shark's mouth. You just see his little head poking out of there, and food comes in the water and he's all over it. We'll do another feeding video upcoming. Let me know what you thought about the last one. Moving on to the Betta sorority, which gets the worst glare in the whole fish room. Yeah, all the girls are doing fine. There's been no nipping or aggression or anything like that, and I think it does help having the dither fish in there. The dithers being these X-ray tetras, the bigger ones, 6 of those, and 12 of those bloodfin tetras, which are, I'm finding out they really love plants, and they do come out. I mean, like, there's most of them right there. They do come out from the plants, so I know they're not hiding because they're getting picked on. They do come out from the plants, and nobody touches them. They get left alone. It's relatively peaceful in here. They just prefer to be in the plants. I mean, smaller fish generally seek cover. And moving on, here is our 8 albino cardinal tetras. I did realize with that Aquahuna order, I ordered 10. I only got 8. They're all super healthy. I still would not bash Aquahuna at all. Matter of fact, that's probably where I'm gonna order the Acaras from. I really had such a great experience with them, but they did kind of send me 2 less fish, so I'll shoot them an email and I'm sure they'll take care of it. Their reviews are great. And we'll keep following along with these guys, so I will let you know in upcoming videos how that goes. And this is the Betta that I put in here because he's super peaceful. He's pretty old, and he's leaving these guys alone, no problem. And that's why the white one that was going after them is in his old tank. And you can see he's flaring up at the tiger barbs. So he's probably not a community-friendly Betta. A lot of them are. I kind of had him in quarantine with the bloodfin tetras, and he did totally fine. But for some reason, those albino cardinals triggered him quite a bit. And apparently these tiger barbs now too. So that's interesting with him. And it kind of a bummer because he looks really good with the albino fish just because of his coloration. But I mean, it is what it is. You get what you get with the males. Sometimes it goes great, sometimes it fails. And same thing with the females too. This is a risk. You know, I monitor this every day, and if there's aggression, I'm gonna have to start throwing dividers in and rehoming people. And that just is what it is. But to me, it's worth a try because, you know, tried so many things in this hobby that you have to keep trying new things to keep yourself engaged and interested sometime. And this really kind of sucked me back in when I was at a point where I was like, you know, kind of over it. But getting back into trying new things, like let's do a sorority, let's buy fish online, let's set up more tanks, let's try plants, you know, really keeping me involved in the hobby. And I've kind of saved the worst for last year because I made a mistake with this tank. I'll admit it, I'm going to be completely open on this channel. I made a huge mistake. I put 6 Buenos Aires tetras in here, and you already know how it's going to go. I was feeding the tank every day, no problems. Nobody ate any of them. And then I thought, all right, I need to do a feeding video. I want to make sure these guys eat on camera. I'm going to fast them for a few days. And what do you think they did during their fasting? Do you think they didn't eat anything? I did not think about it, and they picked off all the Buenos Aires but the one, and now that I'm back to feeding every day, he's alive and well. I do have a friend setting up a tank for the first time. I'm gonna give him a hang on the back filter, some already cycled media, which I keep floating in all my tanks for that reason. And I'll probably let him have this guy to kind of start the cycle, and if he likes more, I can get him more. If not, we'll find something to do with him, so once his tank is like kind of fully cycled and he's comfortable with, you know, water changes and stuff like that, I'll probably take him back and find some way to rehome him, so the friend of mine can get the fish he really wants once he's kind of got a good handle on it. So it is what it is. I mean, it's totally my fault. I didn't think about it. I was more worried about making sure these guys were hungry, not realizing that Oscars rarely go hungry. They'll eat anything if you leave them no choice. So my bad, you know, learn from me. All right, everybody, there's a fish room update as well as how I do water changes. Let me know in the comments section what you think, if you learned anything, if you think that there's something I missed on. I mean, I'm always learning every day in this hobby, you know, and correct me if you think I'm wrong on things. I have no problem with, you know, healthy discussions or debates, or even just seeing how you guys do things compared to me, you know, what works for you, because that's in this hobby, that's important to understand, is different things work for different people based on their fish, based on their feeding schedule, based on their experience, based on, you know, how often they even need to do water changes, do they need to feed, or what the situation. Everything's so situational. So I really do like hearing experiences from people. So please comment and, you know, let me know what you think, and let me know what you want to see in the future. I'm almost at 30 subscribers in like less than a week, or about a week. So thank you, every single one of you. Hopefully you all made it this far in this video. So I can give you that thanks. It really does mean a lot to me. This has just been an awesome experience so far. This is a great community to be a part of, and I'm happy to be here. But thanks for following along. This is Up North Aquatics, and thank you for stopping by. One more thing. The pea puffers, their lights off. It's early morning, so we will do an update on those guys in a different video. I think that's going to be my next species only video, so stay tuned for that. So I couldn't include them in this tour. Plus they had a huge water change before I put them in, so they weren't on the water change schedule. I wasn't really thinking about it, you know, didn't turn their lights off. If I turned them on now, they'd all be hiding. And so I think I'm going to save that for the next species only video. So stay tuned if that's something you'd like to see. And yeah, thanks for stopping by.